I'm going to show you over 30 tips and tricks to make your journey easier in Palworld. It took me over 60 hours to make this video, so make sure to subscribe. And without wasting time, let's jump into it. So when you first create your world, you can change the settings and adjust how you want to play the game. You can either play as an explorer or survival, but I would suggest turning off the drop item option because it's gonna make things much easier, especially in the early gameplays. And when you're finally in the game, you might have realized that the building mechanics is very limited. It doesn't allow you to build anywhere you want, so try using the least restrictive building mod. You can download it from the Nexus website and I'll put the link in the description. This mod is very easy to install and you can build wherever you want, and you can even overlap things. If you want to avoid raids, just build your base on top of a high mountain and use the fast travel points to get in and out of your base. Get the armor and shield as soon as possible. It will help you with the boss battles and will increase your chances of survival in the early gameplays. You can unlock the shield and armor in the technology tab when you reach level 4. Okay, so let's talk about traversing. When you first start the game, your character doesn't have enough stamina to keep up with your exploration. So try getting the glider. It makes exploring so much fun, especially when you jump off high places. But if you want to go even faster, try running and then slide downhill and open your glider. That way you will cover more distance and you can unlock the glider at level 5 in the technology tab. If you have a lot of weight and you cannot move, try using the grappling gun. Just point and shoot and it will move you to where you want to go. You can unlock the grappling gun at level 12. Also try rolling as much as you can, especially during boss battles. It will help you avoid the attacks. Okay, so now let's talk about the Palbox. If you want a fast travel point in your base, you need to build a Palbox. This is where you can store all your pals and they will automatically be assigned to different tasks when you call them. Try leveling up your Palbox to level 15 before fighting any bosses. It will be much easier once you have everything in your arsenal. Just focus on building your base and capturing pals. And when you finally have the pals and the weapons you need, you can go on a rampage. Okay, so let's talk about the pals. They can be very useful if you know where to find them and how to use them. For example, in the early gameplay, this Paint Cat, Fwack, Tansy, and Leaf Monk are very good for handiwork, and they can pick up items from the ground and put it in the storage boxes. Rush Hour and the Paint Cat are also good for mining stones. Ectodeer and Dinosaur will chop wood. Floppy, Bristla, and Capriti will grow food. T-Fank, Fwack, and Pinglet will water plants. Foxpark and Ruby can cook food and will melt ore into ingot to create tools and armor. Sparkit and Jolthawk will provide electricity to build production lines, but that's for later use. If you want to know where to find them on the map, just click on the habitat next to their stats and it will show their location. Okay, so now let's talk about the materials you need the most in the early game. Wood, stone, blue ore, leather, wool, pal fluids, flame, and electric organs. You can either find them throughout the world or in these chests, but that will take a lot of time. Let me show you how to get them more quickly. You can unlock the stone pit and logging site at level 7 and assign the Pink Cat and Rush Hour to mine stones and Ectodeer and Dinosaur to chop wood. You can unlock Crusher at level 8 and assign any of the watering pals. It will break stones into paldium fragments. You can unlock the berry plantation at level 5 and assign Floppy, Baristla, and Capriti to grow berries on them. T-Fant, Fwack, and Pinglet will water the plants to grow. Here's a tip: place storage boxes near the work site, and pals with transporting stats will automatically place the drop items in the boxes. Place the feed box near the berry plantation and pals will put the berries into the feed box once it's grown, and all the pals in the base will automatically eat from the feed box when they're hungry. Additionally, you can assign any of the fire pals to cook the berries either in the campfire or cooking pot. Cooked berries will last longer and the pals respond to it very well. There are some items that you can only get when you defeat pals. pals. For example, Rush Hour and Vixie will drop bones. Mamarest, Rush Hour and Fwak will drop leather. Lamball and Malpaca will drop wool. Foxspark and Ruby will drop fire organ. Sparkit and Jolthawk will drop electric organ. Pinglet, T-Faint and Salaray will drop pal fluids. If you want the pals to be in good spirit, work hard and not get sick, give them cooked berries and hot milk. Also craft beds for them because they get stressed when there's no place to sleep at night. And build at least 4 hot springs if you have 10 or more pals in your base. It will make the base more streamlined while you can explore the rest of the world without worrying about your pals. Okay, so now let's talk about the food. In the early game, your only choice is to pick up berries out in the wild. But as I mentioned before, you can unlock the berry plantation later on and grow your own food. I spent a lot of time in the game and I realized that the pals don't need any other fancy food except for cooked berries and hot milk. You can get the milk from Mozzarina. They usually hang out in this part of the map. You can even bring them to the farm and they will drop milk for you. What about farming? I hear you cry. Well, if you place certain pals in the ranch, they will drop items that might be hard to find in the early game. You can unlock the ranch at level 5 and place the pals for grazing. For example, Mozzarina will drop milk. Vixie will drop spheres. Bee-God will drop honey. Chickpea will drop eggs. Primus and Malpaca will drop wool. Cyblax will drop high quality clothes. Mau and Mau Crest will drop gold. Later on in the game, you will need to mine ore to get ingot and upgrade your tools and armor. These are some of the best places to mine ore. You will need pals with level 2 mining like Dewmat and level 3 dig toys. They are very good with mining ore, but you will have to capture them first in this part of the map. The weather is very hot in there, so you will need to unlock heat resistant plate armor at level 16. Once you have a few of those pals, bring them back to your mining base and they will automatically start mining ore. Of course, you will need to provide them with food, beds and hot springs. Also add other pals to grow food for them and gather the ores from the ground into the storage boxes. Okay, so let's talk about the bosses in the Palworld. There are 5 syndicate towers in the entire map. Each tower got a unique pal boss with their own cinematic cutscene to battle. They have a lot of HP and you only have 10 minutes to defeat them, but you will get a lot of XP if you put them down within the time frame, and you can always revisit the battle after a day to farm XP and level up yourself and your pals. There's also 43 normal bosses, all different in looks with their own unique powers. You can capture all 43 bosses including the 5 unique ones from the tower, but you will have to increase your capture power first. Some pal bosses are shown on the map but are hard to find. They are usually in the cave underground. Look for these visual cues to find them. You can have up to 5 pals in your party for battles and for exploring, and even if one of your pals level is lower than the others in the party, win a boss battle and it will increase your pal's level automatically. While fighting a boss, you can always call back your pal before the boss does a big attack. That way your pal will be safe from taking damage and you can send it back to continue the battle. If one of your pals got low HP during the battle, call it back and it will slowly regain its HP while you can send another pal to continue the battle. Try fighting from a distance and dodge attacks by rolling. Okay, so let's talk about riding pals. The fastest ground pal for early play is Fenglope, which you can find it in this part of the map, but you can also breed Fenglope. In order to breed pals, you need a breeding farm, an egg incubator and a cake. To bake the cake, you need wheat plantation. It's a similar process to berry plantation, but you will need a mill to crush the wheat into flour. To bake the cake, go to your cooking pot and look up the recipe, which includes berries, milk, flour, egg and honey. After baking the cake, put it in the box near the breeding farm. Now to get the Fenglope, you need to breed Panking with Leaf Monk. One must be male and the other one female, but the order doesn't matter. They will drop an egg and you need to put the egg inside the incubator, and after some time it will hatch into Fenglope. You also need to unlock the saddle for Fenglope, and it's one of the fastest ground pals to ride. As for the flying pals, Venom Crust is very good, but if you want the best flying pals without fighting any bosses is Faleris. To get Faleris, you need to breed Venom Crust with Anubis, but Anubis is a level 47 boss and it's very hard to fight him in the early game. So you need to breed Bushy with Panking first and their baby will be Anubis. Then you can breed Anubis with Venom to get Faleris. You also need to unlock the saddle for Faleris if you want to ride him. But if you want the fastest ground pal, it is Frostulation, and the fastest flying pal is Jetrigan. In order to capture capture them, you need a very high capture power and legendary spheres, and even then it's not guaranteed. If you want to find all the fast travel points or other items in general, try to look for them during the night as it's easier to spot them from the distance. Two of the most important items are Leaf Monk Effigy and Pal Souls. You can increase your capture power and Pal stats using these two items. Go to one of the statues of power or build one in your base and upgrade yourself and your pals. If you want to farm XP without fighting any bosses, try to capture 10 of each pals and it will boost your XP. You need cold and heat resistant armors to travel to different parts of the map. Just look at your temperature meter and swap armors accordingly. And this was my top 30 tips and tricks for Palworld. If you find it useful, make sure to share the video and subscribe.